Welcome to the Basic Bee podcast, a show for the wannabe SEO savvy service providers among us, for the coaches and consultants who dream of becoming known for their storytelling skills, not to mention the solopreneurs who straight up need to master all things social proof to increase sales. After a little reluctantly fully committing to this online world of business, I quickly realized I needed to get people to come to me. I needed to tell them I was here and how I could support them. I dove headfirst into social proof, which led me to SEO, which led me to storytelling. And now it gives me great joy to share what I've learned with other business owners so they skip the hard stuff and ease straight into sales. This podcast gives you expert insights, actionable takeaways, and casual convos with some of the online world's best and brightest experts and strategists. I think that's enough of an intro, so here we go. Today, we're having a super interesting open conversation with Sanjana about what it's like to get started as a copywriter, what it's like to be a copywriter. She's in India, I'm in America. We don't look the same, like things are very different. So we're gonna get to all of it. But I thought it would be kind of cool. Do you want to talk about like how we met? Do you want to tell our story?
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. And let's just get started with the story part. So, it was way back in 2022. I guess it was mid-October-ish. And I was researching frantically someone to just help me, guide me into SEO and ease me into it. And that's how I came across your profile and a few others. Just just laying it out there. So yeah, that's that's how I came to know you, and I just shot a DM, I guess, writing about how you got started and if you had any resources for me, as a newbie and something like that. And you very so kindly replied to me, out of I guess 8 to 9 people I had DM'd, just blindly DM'd, and you were the first person to reply to me, and that too with this huge paragraph. I was like, oh my God, did I just find my dupe online? Did
Yes,
how
you did.
how is this even working? Okay. I was so happy when that happened. And then one thing led to another. We discovered a lot of common points,
Mhm.
even though we're oceans apart. And it was just so nice after that.
Yeah, and it was so touching to me because I wanted you to tell the story because I'm typically in your position where it's like I'll reach out to somebody, I'll write a DM, and I shared this with you when you were overjoyed, really. You were like, "Oh my gosh, you wrote back. This is great. You've been so helpful." But it really kind of sucks when you write to someone and they don't write back. And that has happened to me so many times, and so I really try to make it a point to not have me do that to someone else. So it was really touching that you were just overjoyed that I wrote back to you. I'm curious though, and I don't think I've ever asked you, did anybody else write back?
Yeah, they did, but it was not detailed. It was just like a surface level answer. And, something I was grateful for it. It was something to just get the conversation going. But
Mm.
of course, they were way ahead in the game. And back then, I did not have an idea of who was starting out, how to scope out if someone was new or someone was in the game for a long time, something like that. So, I was okay, hitting up just about anybody. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was just grateful that they could even share their time with me. But of course, I needed details. I needed a guide, a mentor. So yeah, I found that in you.
I'm trying to think of how, when I got started, what it was like. I think I just went down like the Google search rabbit hole for a while, and I realized that my website copy was working because I had the massage practice and I had the website for the massage practice. And then when I wanted to transition over into copywriting and SEO stuff, I was like, oh, okay, I'll just switch over the messaging and change everything over to now I'm offering this thing. And it is kind of hard to figure out who to reach out to and who will give you the time of day and even what resources that you feel like you need. Because I think for me, if I really sit and think about it, I needed or wanted systems. I wanted templates. I wanted to understand what I had been doing correctly and what I could then, build on. But what was it that you were looking for? Like you mentioned, I think a little bit, you didn't really know what direction you wanted to go as far as copywriting websites or emails or
Yeah, definitely. When I reached out to you, I was doing everything for this one client, which was, a Canadian-based business. So I was doing everything for them, right from a website copy, product descriptions and blogs and emails and anything under the sun. I might have done it. So yeah, I got intrigued by, blog writing because that was the first project-based client that I had acquired. And I pitched to them, and like I started writing and it was good and everything, but I really wanted to like know how to bring in traffic and how to do the stuff that actually gets my clients some kind of tangible results. And so, yeah, SEO was the first thing that I wanted to explore. And that's why, I even bought your podcast, the private podcast series.
Right?
And
Yeah.
yeah, right. I got started with that, but unfortunately, the payment thing did not work out for me. Like, yeah, some issues with my payment gateway or something. I just don't know.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think that was even, divinely led because that got me into thinking about email a bit more. And that's when I asked you about, email marketing courses and stuff. And you led me to Brittany McBean.
Yeah.
And yeah. And that was like my origin point, like knowing Brittany, the other Brittany, and origin point into conversion copywriting.
Hmm.
So yeah.
She's got some amazing products. And then that's good. I need to have her come on and do this series with me as well. So I will make sure to like link the two as also. And she was a really helpful starting point for me too, was going through her 5-figure elite program, which I'll link below in case anyone watching or listening is curious about that. How did you find Caitlin Collins? Was that me or had you already found her on your own?
Yeah, so I did find her on my own. I had like followed her and just binge watched an entire like set of whatever she puts out. It was just a vibe. And I was still like a bit skeptical about, investing because obviously it was a large investment for me
Hmm.
back then. And so like I asked you about recommendations, and I remember you specifically mentioning about Caitlin and also Copywriter Underground, I guess.
Oh yeah. With
Yeah,
Kira and
yeah.
Rob. Hmm.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah. And I thought that that was something I needed after I got into a course and, had all the knowledge because I need systemized, school like teaching for
Yeah.
me. That is what I saw with Caitlin. And it was also, the copy side and also the business side. That
Hmm.
is what attracted me most to her. And that's how I knew her. But yeah, of course, I researched on my own, but the trust got doubled and tripled when you recommended her to me. So yeah, that is how we connected.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I love Caitlin. I didn't necessarily want to go into launch copywriting. I eventually figured that out. But if I did, I would definitely get into Caitlin's program. She knows her stuff. Brittany McBean does that, but she doesn't necessarily teach that. I would say she's fully like the business of copywriting.
Right.
This is
Right.
how you build your business. This is the system and the
Yeah.
process and the workflow. And that's what I needed. So that's why I started there. And I mean,
Yeah.
there's no wrong option. And I think that's the other thing too, is like there's no clearly laid out path of like college or university where it's go through these prerequisites, go into this, and then go into this specialized training and get a mentor and so on. So it's kind of challenging to figure that out on your own, unless, like you said, unless you have somebody that you can reach out to and be like, hi, I have questions. Can you help me? But when I started out, I had imposter syndrome. It still pops up occasionally. Even though I've been doing this for a while, it's still like, do I have the qualifications to say this? Do I know what I'm doing here? And it's our brains are so funny. I'll make sure that I link the episode with Sally because she talks about that stuff and she's really helped me get over the hump with that. It doesn't really go away. It just kind of like shifts a little bit. Have you noticed that too?
Yeah. Because my poster did not look the same like 1 year ago I mean, compared to what it looks now. It's just like a whole bunch of different issues. And I'm glad that I have this imposter with me right now. I don't want to be, Sanjana of 2022 again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a journey. I think it's just a learning curve. So we have to like roll with it.
What are some of your favorite projects to work on now?
Oh, yeah, copywriting. So, yeah, I'm going to get started with a website copywriting project with one of the, I guess I think I should be saying this, like one of the first in somatic therapy and I guess trauma informed therapy, like the whole bunch of it. Yeah, like she's one of the first persons to be talking about it in India, like in a large scale. So,
Cool.
yeah, I'm be working with her, yeah, for a website. And yeah, I just wrapped up a project with another superbly amazing coach that I am like, I just fangirl whenever I see her page because she's so brutally honest with everything. And that is what something I want to imbibe in future. And yeah, that I wrapped up her launch copywriting. Like it was like an entire series of promo emails. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So emails and then web copy. You
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
like. I love that. The also too, just to note you probably already know this, but the SEO shorts, they were the private podcast.
Mm.
We
Yeah.
dissolved that and they are now all live under the Simple and Smart SEO show. So if you ever do want to go back, they're all out there. They're the short little snippets and they've all been launched. So that's Crystal is just doing that podcast now, which is really cool. So I'm excited to see like what direction that goes in. But those are all available now, just in case anybody else listening or watching is like, I want to listen to those. They're out. What are some other challenges that you've noticed that have come up even in just the last year with you being a copywriter?
I would just divide them into two buckets. Okay, like first would be purely mindset based and environmental based, like from like where I come from and everything. And the second would be purely beginner copywriter kind of a mindset. So the first bucket, like when I'm talking about my environment, I like there are two aspects. First is language, and second is pricing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was, in India, we speak a lot of, formal English, and we write a lot of formal English. So it's like what you would write in in a university or, like a school essay or something like this. It's more of that. Okay. And the conversational side of it is also cool, but it's not as conversational as in America. Yeah. So like words like snap it up or, snag it, something like that. It's like, what? Where are these coming from? I don't know. Okay, so I had to like literally pull out my Cambridge dictionary and just go through all the phrasal verbs and everything. So just to like equip myself with all of the wordings that people use.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, language was a barrier, but I wouldn't say it stopped me because people did like my formal English writing, so they gave me opportunity to explore. Yeah, so that was about the language, and pricing has been an issue and is a continuing issue. I guess it never dies down
No.
per se, no matter where you are in the world. But in India, living in India and being a third world country and everything, so it's like people around me are working harder, maybe 2 or 3 times harder than I am, and earning less than me, and I'm making the same amount with one copywriting project. So it creates a lot of guilt in me that I might be, yeah, like I'm not doing it right or something, and yeah, not right by them, and also not right per se. Like it has to be harder. The process has to be
Right.
harder. Yeah, right. And that is how Caitlin, and also you have told me multiple times, like the experience of working with you, it does not have to be like you don't have to be an expert and everything like that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, those kind of mindset shifts really helped me then. And from the copywriting angle, I think I'm still a newbie. I consider myself a newbie because I know a lot of things, but I'm yet to know a lot of things that my mentors know. So until and unless I'm at that level, I won't consider myself an expert or something. Okay. Just today, Caitlin shared something in our private Facebook group about her retainers, how that looks like. Okay. And she had listed down everything, like all the deliverables that she
I know I
offers.
twisted twist my tongue around that one too.
Yeah, it's just something that happens even with friends. So yeah, I just looked at them and I'm like, okay, how do we do all these things? How does she know everything? I mean, how do I know everything that she knows? And I was like, okay, I have a lot to learn, and okay, it can be a process, it can be a learning curve and everything. So yeah, the beginner mindset is, both I would say it's just a boon and a bane. Boon in the sense that it helps me evolve, but bane in the sense that it sometimes kicks in a huge imposter
Mm-hmm.
when I'm frantically texting you at the middle of the night, you with long text and Brittany, I don't know how to do this and
Uh-huh.
this and that. Yeah. And you will come up with solutions like you always do. And so yeah, that two sides of the coin, so to
Yeah, so
speak.
I would say with even with language here, so as you were talking about that, growing up and learning to write and speak more formal English, it reminded me a lot of we learn Spanish here typically. That's like a language that a lot of Americans learn as a second language. And we were learning how to write and speak more formally. And I had friends who were actually from Mexico or actually from Spain, and they would say, no, like this is how we say it when we're just like hanging out with friends. So I don't think that that's not in a negative sense. Like it's not unique, but it's also you're not alone. Like it's pretty typical. And it's funny, even before I hit record, I said something and I was like, that's probably like challenging to learn the phrases and the slang and the just like casual conversation. So is that something that have you just picked that up by talking with people? I know you said that you were looking at a dictionary sometimes.
Yeah, and that does not really help because, dictionary even, it's like from 2008 or something, so it just not has been updated.
Hmm.
But yeah, like reading copy from different people, copywriters, like senior copywriters who have been in the game for a long time, and also like reading a lot of Caitlin stuff because
Yeah.
I'm just obsessed with the way she writes.
It's
And
so
like,
good.
yeah, like it is like stellar. And yeah, that's how, I just note down, like whenever I watch a Netflix series or something like that, I would keep my notes, the app handy with me. Like I would just go back and write down something I picked up and I would try to use it with my clients' copy. And if they think that it is their voice, well and good. And if not, we try to work around it. But yeah, I'm just trying to improve my vocabulary every day, so
It's
to say.
same. I mean,
Yeah.
even just with like regular words, I'm like, how could I say happy in a different way? So I don't know if you've ever
Yeah.
heard of it, but Word Hippo is one of my favorite
Yeah,
websites
I've
to
read
go
it.
to. It's really amazing for like a thesaurus resource. Oh, the other thing you mentioned was pricing. I don't think that ever
Yeah.
goes away. Like that's a challenging one. Even I just like updated again my pricing and I'm finally at the point where I'm like confidently charging at this rate and it feels
Mm.
good and I can stand behind it. But if you had asked me to charge what I'm charging now a year ago, 2 years ago, and people can pick up on that. Like if you have a price and you're not fully energetically behind it, they're going to pick up on that. And that's going to come across as like, I'm not an expert. I don't know what I'm doing, that kind of thing. So it's challenging, but it's not a challenge that's not a challenge that you go through alone either. But there
Yeah.
have been challenges that you and I don't have, like that are different. So,
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to speak to that a bit? Like, especially with just like you're in India and you're writing for mostly American authors, and I'm in America and writing for mostly American authors, and that hasn't been your experience.
I think it would be a nice time to tell or to like segue into the story that, when I was starting out with this Canadian business that I mentioned, it was a remote team, right? So the person who was just above me, who was handling all the teams and everything. So one day we had a very meager salary and, intern, I guess, what do they call that? Internship money or whatever. We had a very meager amount. And I never complained about it because I was learning and of course I was new and everything. So, but I was like, I went into the process for like 3 to 4 months and they offered me a full-time role. And I imagined that a full-time role would include, a better or a beefed up salary in the sense that at least it should be like twice the amount that they were offering previously.
Hmm.
But when I brought up that issue, I was gaslighted. I was told that I'm still new. I did not know what I was talking about, and I should speak more like them in order to, yeah, just to charge that kind of an amount. And this is just preposterous, the kind of amount that I charge. I actually quoted them like whatever I charged with my other clients, and they were completely shocked. And the worst part was this was not even from the creator of the business. It was the managing person who lived in India and who was serving them. And he was like, no, you aren't doing it right. And, you can't serve people like that. You have to find a balance and everything. So that is what got me into thinking that, okay, maybe I'm charging a lot and maybe I shouldn't. And then Brittany McBean came into the picture. I got into Copy Hackers, this a pricing tool or something.
Hmm.
And yeah, I saw the kind of prices they charged for the stuff that I offered, and it was way, way, way low. Like what I did was like severely undercharging myself. It felt so bad that a fellow person or like a fellow human being living in the same country that I do, working for the same kind of clients, they had mentality like that.
Hmm.
So that was first issue, and the second issue was in March of this year. I started working with a conversion copywriter. Again, she was, I guess, 2, 3 years into her business or more. I can't tell. And she had hired me as a junior copywriter. Back then, I was like, taking up any and all opportunities. I was not weighing my worth or anything. So I was
Hmm.
like, okay, let's just do everything that they say, and we'll see about the prices and everything. So the prices were okay, but the workload was really high and the turnaround time was really, really short, like 24 hours or 48 hours and like three or four
No.
blocks. I did not know that it was, it's not supposed to be done.
Right.
And they were doing it being a conversion copywriter. Okay. And I was still like, okay, fine, I need to learn. So I will do that. And of course, like with the shorter turnaround time, I was like just writing down whatever came into my mind, went through. I even did not know about voice of customer data research back then. So it was more like whatever I saw the creator post and like adapting it into my voice and their voice and just
Right.
create something out of it. And I submitted the first blog, and the first comment that the lady that I was working with she made was that I did not know how to frame sentences in English, and she couldn't believe that it was not the final draft. She thought that this was the first draft, and I was appalled. I was like, nobody has ever commented on my English to
No.
this level. Yeah,
No, because your
and
English is good. And I remember having, sorry to interrupt you. I remember having this conversation with Caitlin and like, because you had shared with me that this was something that you felt weak with,
yeah.
an area you felt weak about. And I'm like, not at all. I don't know how it came up in conversation with Caitlin, honestly, but we were both like, this is ridiculous. Like, no, she's so good with her English. And I even remember like whatever Caitlin said, I shared with you and I told her, I was like, I'm sharing this with Sanjana because that's just preposterous.
It was shocking, and actually, I kind of believed her then because the woman that I was working with, I believed her then because I did not have any. I guess I did not have someone to turn to talk about these problems, but
Yeah.
I did. I had to open up in our group call with Caitlin. That yeah, the calls had started then. And she told me that you could do these, like she listed down some steps, like just going through the course creators Instagram and seeing how she talks so that you can pick up words and sentences that she uses, and maybe you can use them directly or tweak them into something that you feel is befitting to their voice and everything. So yeah, that was one of the very important steps. But when I submitted my mock pieces to her for the portfolio that we have to like whip up for approaching clients, so yeah, that's when she told me that she felt so happy reading my pieces, and she was like, "Okay, I speak or I write better than an average American." Yeah, I guess
You
she
do.
just said something around the lines, around that lines, and I think I regained my confidence piece by piece after that. Yeah.
The only thing that's similar that I had happen was I had a client who very much wanted like a sales page to be this long. And I'm exaggerating, but like they definitely wanted like a super short sales page. And even then, even me, like I'm in the world, I've written sales pages before, I speak English. And yet I was like, maybe I can do it. And then I was also at the same time, I'm like, I can't do that. That's not how that works. I don't need to write a 2 mile long sales page, but I certainly can't make it like itty bitty. So it was challenging because I had my client who was saying, this is what I want. And I have these principles in mind and best practices where I'm like, that doesn't match up. So it wasn't the language thing, but it was the best practices and this is just how this is the best formula that's going to succeed. That definitely tapped into my imposter syndrome. And I was like, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I should be a copywriter. And I think I also went to Brittany McBean around that time because I was like, am I losing it? Should I like, how would you do this? And I can't remember if it was, I reached out before the situation was resolved or not. But I think what I ended up doing is giving the client two options. And I was like, this is the shorter one. You can choose to use this if you want. This is the longer one that's going to perform better, but the choice is yours kind of thing. So that is really challenging to be in any kind of scenario. And it happens to all of us.
Yeah.
Undercharging, having clients that give you like such strong pushback and make you question yourself and your entire existence. Like it happens and it's really crappy and it's really unfortunate.
I just have to like let people know, whoever is watching, is that you cannot really make assumptions about people based on even their experiences. Skin color aside, race aside, everything aside, you cannot even make assumptions based on their experiences. Like, let's say someone is 0.5 years into writing, but they might be so much better than what you've actually worked with. Like, I've seen experienced people just like being very casual with their copy, like their process and everything, just being very, like, I guess, giving delayed responses and everything. So, yeah, that is something you won't face with a newbie copywriter. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you answered the question that I didn't even have to ask, which is like, do you have any tips or advice? I would say for me, and it sounds like for you as well, having that support system to go to is huge. For me, I would say that's been everything.
Same here. I mean, I don't know what I would be without Caitlin. Like, honest to God, I don't know what I would be without her. Like, she's so hands-on with the students, and she listens to everyone with so much heart, and she offers everything she has. And I don't know where I would be without her. Like, again, repeating myself, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, having a mentor, especially in this world, really helps, and it speeds things along, and it gives you that
Yeah.
confidence boost that you really need at the beginning. And I had people telling me, like, even Brittany McBean was like, I don't have the best website. I've had the same website for like 2 or 3 years. It's been working. I'm not happy with it, but like it gives the clients what they need when they come to find me. And I now understand what she's saying because I'm like, I just updated my copy this year. The messaging is a little bit different, but it's helping. It's pulling in the right people. And also me showing up in the right places is pulling in the right people. Even as a newer copywriter, you don't have to know everything, have everything perfect. The things that really matter to clients are that you're going to be, like you said, you're going to be responsive. You're going to have good communication. If you can come in before the deadline, you're going to make everyone like ecstatic, and it's just going to be life changing for them and for you, and just not ghosting them. It's
Yeah.
amazing how many people in the copywriting, SEO, marketing world where they get on the call with you, they're like whatever, and they're great, and so you sign on, they take your money, and then it's like, where are you? Where are the deliverables? Like what's going on? And people just don't know. They're kept so out of the loop. So that's something that I make sure to play up in my marketing and my messaging. And when I'm working with clients, I've even been known to send like a Voxer where it's like, hey, I'm still here. I've almost got your thing, but like I haven't talked to you in a few days. I wanted to let you know that I'm still here. I will, like, I started to clarify with clients. I'm like, do you want me to check in? And some people are like, no, it's okay. It's fine. Like I'll see you when the stuff is done. But some people like those touch points. So I've started to get to the point where I'm like, okay, is this going to be annoying? Is this a good thing? Is this something that you want, so that I can resonate with their personality a little bit better and make it a really good experience for them? Have you noticed anything like that you do with your client experience?
Uh, yeah, but like before I get into that, I just want to like let you know how beautiful your process is, like your
Oh,
client
thank
experience.
you.
I'd love to be your client, I guess. Like with this entire thing, I actually love people who are pretty hands-on once you get into their world, because like I hate delays, even with normal IRL stuff. I just hate delays. So can't imagine that with anyone. Okay, so like about me, what I've noticed or what I do with my clients, I try to, yeah, I resort to email only, like email communications, and I try to be on top of it. And I also let them know prior to hopping on a call with me or just working with me that these are gonna be my like working hours. And I also mentioned that it would be in IST, so that they don't have to like they can account for the time zone differences. And like it usually works in my favor, because like when it's night for you, it's the morning for us, so they feel like, yeah, I'm just very hands on. So yeah, that works in my favor. And yeah, besides that, I always, I don't know, I think I don't actually put a lot of thought into it, other than, I mean, what I'm going to just say, like it's like just keeping in touch with them on Instagram, because the people that I write, like I do end up writing for, they're like, I'm their biggest fans. Like, honest to God, like
Yeah.
I love everything that they put out.
Yeah.
I would love to be their clients. I'm like that kind of excited about their programs and coachings and everything.
Mhm.
So I love to keep in touch with them on Instagram still.
One thing I've done a lot this year is shift away from doing as many Zooms. Ironically, like we're sitting here on Zoom, but I've really tried to shift away from that, because I noticed I would go to networking calls. I would just hop on like coffee chats with people. And then on top of that, I'm booking podcast interviews for my own thing, and for like being a guest somewhere else. There was one week where I had like 3 Zoom calls every single day, Monday through Friday. And I was like, this is too much. I can't do this. So what I've started to do is have more of those like sales conversations. And I do it in air quotes because it just feels like a conversation. And people are like, at that point, typically vetting just me. They know they want this type of solution, and they're just trying to figure out if we drive. And usually it's like 2 messages and they're like, okay, send me the invoice and the contract, which is great. But I've started doing it more on Voxer versus Zoom, because I like that, as you know, I like doing the voice notes. And
Yeah.
also that way I'm able to send like links, or I can type out a response. So that's something that shifted for me. And at first, even with that, I was getting some pushback, but I started to notice the clients who liked doing Voxer with me, who liked that kind of experience, they were the ones that were very excited to work with me. They were like my dream clients. So I was like, okay, we're going to stick mostly with this. There are, of course, times where people need to be on Zoom and it's just easier to do some stuff that way. But for the most part, I try to keep that just on Voxer. And I've had some really amazing clients come in the door. You and everyone, me, everyone, all of us, all copywriters will notice things as we continue to like grow and evolve and build our businesses. And I think I'm only like a year-ish, like a year and a half-ish ahead of you in the process. And Brittany McBean, I realized, I think she's also just like maybe 2.5 years ahead of the process, from me. We think of these people as like, oh, you're so much further ahead. I don't consider you a newbie copywriter. Like you've proven yourself, if you will, to you, to your clients, to people, to the community. And as soon as I started just like embracing, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is what I'm known for, that's what you have to almost do to have the people come to you that you want to come to you.
When you are in the beginner mindset, like, am I doing this right? That thing keeps bugging you, and that will show in your content, because you will be like, okay, maybe I don't want to I guess I don't want to disturb the waters, because there might be some senior person or someone who I might irk them or something. And that actually happens with me time to time, even now. But after having this is something I actually adopted for my Instagram, is just like embodied learning and embodied teaching. Is just like whatever I've done, I can source content from there and I can speak it. So it does not have to be this huge 3 tips to do this or something like that. I mean, I don't have to prove my worth every damn time. I can just tell myself, and people can be like, okay, this is the person I want to work with. And that is true. That will
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
I'm so excited to see you just continue to grow, because it's been really fun watching your journey already and seeing you
Yeah.
like kind of like blossom. One other thing that we wanted to touch on was just like, what do we love about copywriting and this work and what we get to do and who we get to work with?
Yeah, this is something again new that is happening with me. I just registered my business like 2 days prior. Yeah. And it was like a journey for me, because I never in a million years imagined myself as an entrepreneur. There is this yearly audits, right? So yeah, I have to look for the audits. I have to keep up with the invoices. I am actually a business now. I'm in charge of even though it does not exist in brick and mortar, it's still in my mind. It's very real in my mind and in my client's mind and in everybody who comes into contact with me. So yeah, I have to be responsible for that. I am the face of my brand. All of these new thoughts about how I can present myself is just coming into the fore. And previously I knew that I was creative, but it would lead to this huge miraculous thing where I can be myself, I can write whatever I want, I can still be an asset to a business, or a person, that I mean, just a real deriving my worth from helping people. I used to be in that category,
Mm-hmm.
like deriving my worth out of it, but just deriving my worth out of who I am right now, because of this entire journey. I'm like super grateful that I get to experience it. And I'll just say it again, I've never imagined that this would happen. And it's just continuing to grow in all of these beautiful ways. I even have ideas of how I want to, grow locally, and what imprint I want to leave on Indian market compared to like Western market and everything. Like all of these switch. I mean, light bulbs are just I love this aspect of being a copywriter, just having the whole plateau of it.
Yeah. And we can do with it whatever we want. And for those of us who want to do good things, it's really amazing. But I
Yeah.
totally agree with you. And even just thinking of like the legacy that we're going to leave and what that's going to look like and how people are going to remember us and that kind of thing. Like it's to some degree, it sounds morbid, but it's also like, it's really impactful and it's really empowering to think that like, oh, I have all of this and I get to choose how I'm going to do this, how I'm going to show up, what I'm going to, what mark I'm going to leave. For me, I would say one of the things I love about copywriting in general and just like SEO copywriting as well is just like I'm constantly learning. And you were talking about being your client's biggest fangirl, like same. Also never thought that I would own my own business. And here I've owned two. So it's really funny because I always thought of that as a really like volatile career opportunity. So I was like, I'm not going there. I want steady and stable. And that's the cool thing that you get to do with your business, especially when you figure out who you want to help, how you want to help them, what you want to be known for. It's really amazing. So I love learning. I loved the clients that I get to work with. It's been perfect because I'm usually an ideal client for them. And so it's very easy for me to slip into the client hat and also the expert hat. So it's really fun. And I love that you get that too.
Yeah, it's just that is what I really believe is that how I actually have seen this with multiple people. The way you write, the way you talk about things online, it just attracts the same kind of people. It just has been my experience. Like I talk a lot, I guess, in a very poetic manner because like I have been writing poetry for a long time, and it's like more from motivational and heart center space. Like yeah, I hope you do this. I hope you do that. It's like more of what I speak is not even my intentional messaging, but it's just how it comes out. And I've seen that the people that I work with also talk in the same manner. And they also talk about expanding those things. And that makes me so happy because there are people making these very real, urgent, and much needed changes. And we get to be a part of that huge, ripple effect.
I'm really grateful that you joined me. This was the first time that we've actually met face to face. So I was really grateful that you were excited to do this. Where can people find you? Because I know that there are going to be people who are like, I want to go find you. I want to go say hi. So where can they find you?
Yeah, definitely come say hi. I'm at Instagram. The profile is Copy with Sanjana. And I only live there for now. The website will be coming up soon. So yeah, when that happens, Brittany can inform you.
Yeah, I'll make sure that the links get updated below. Any final parting words?
Yeah, just one thing I have to, let people know who want to embark on this journey is that just believe in yourself how little it is, even if it is like you have always seen things that have worked against you. You have believed in a God or in universe in air quotes because, yeah, and it has, never panned out for you. And that you think that being a creative never gets anywhere, that it can't get you the life you ever like desired, dreamed of. And worst of all, you can't even help people because you are in the business of making money and all of that. It's just nonsense. Believe in yourself. Believe that you have a vision. You are capable of manifesting it in whichever direction and whichever way you want. You can help people. You can make money. You can be creative, and it's just true in all of the sentences.
There's no better way to wrap this up. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks, friend. That was really something, wasn't it? Let that really sink in and guide you toward being the answer to even more Googled questions. Thanks so much for joining me this episode. You are the reason this show exists and that it keeps growing. Thanks to all those follows and reviews. If you know someone who could benefit from what was shared, send it to them. We don't do shy around here. If you thought of clarifying or follow-up questions while listening, you know what to do. Say hi on Instagram. Check the show notes for all the things that were mentioned, and I'll talk to you soon, friend. Okay, you get it. You know SEO is important, but no, you're not interested in learning another skill. Who has the time? But who are you supposed to trust with the task of getting SEO to work for you? Someone who won't ghost you mid-project or treat you like a dum-dum lollipop. Someone who actually wants to empower you and your team with all things SEO. Hi, yes, it's me, Brittany, and you are the person I created the SEO packet for. You're curious, you want to understand this thing better, but only a little bit. You don't actually want to do the doing. This way, you get the key SEO stuff super fast, and you get support throughout and beyond the project. No more letting Google gift you the wrong SEO strategy. Time to put the right words in the right places and get found online by the right people. Find all the info you need below.